So I'm Nick Stevens here at the Blockchain Innovation Conference in Amsterdam 2019. We're at the end of the day and I am with the man with a plan himself, Vincent. Sir, how was your day?
Yeah, it was tiring.
Right.
And it was extremely frustrating.
Frustrating? Why?
Extremely frustrating. Because imagine this. You have 40 speakers and they come from India, they come from all over the world. And every speaker was really interesting and had very specific cases they had about blockchain. But as you know, with blockchain, you have to unpack everything. You have to figure out what do they really mean. Is it for, what is the use of it? How far are they? Are they just blowing us off? We don't have enough time because after every 15 minutes, a new guy came and from a new woman and another industry, and everything was really changing things very dramatically. So it's frustrating and it's very exciting. So and you talk to them all, so you know what I'm talking about. There's a flood. But we found really good speakers, and the enthusiasm was there, and there was a lot of in the room. There was a lot of interaction, a lot of questions. So that there was a lot of good things. But it was also frustration because I wanted to have three times more time.
Yeah. Well, then maybe next year has to be 3 days, but then the problem is only going to get bigger. The good news is you have it all on video, so you can watch it back in a week or two when you're a bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
There was a new theme this year: sustainability. Where did that come from?
Well, sustainability has been sustainability and blockchain for good has been always part of the DNA. Okay,
Yep.
we started this 6 years ago with Rutger van Zuidam, and the idea was that we wanted to make a conference for existing companies, just like that, like the bread and butter of our society, the spines, the big institutions which are not accused of innovating too fast. And we wanted them to expose with this technology because there was a big, they hated that technology. They thought it was an attack, and we didn't think that was the case. So banks, but insurance and energy companies, healthcare companies, we wanted them to show that the way they work now is psychologically damaging for the people inside it. There's a lot of intelligent people who are really smart and doing stupid things with paper and transactions and processes which basically psychologically make you very unhappy. And that can be changed to a point with blockchain.
And the question was sustainability.
Yeah, and sustainability has always been part of that because innovation, the core of a company, you don't change so much. You change things on the edge.
Yeah.
So if there's very little resources, like I thought one of the most interesting cases this year was from Parity and the Red Cross, where they basically give every refugee in a camp, they give them a wallet and they put money into it, and normally the money gets stolen and the PIN code gets forced out of people, or the phone gets stolen, and now they couldn't do that because they basically have to pay with their
iris.
The iris is the private key. So, and that scaled from 100,000 people, next year 500,000 people, and that kind of stuff we also want here.
Vincent, it's 100,000 a month now.
Yeah, 100,000 a month,
That's
but they want to go to
incredible.
500,000. Yeah, so they want to. So it's every month because these people live. So there's 100 people, 1,000 people a month, but it's going to grow. But the funny thing is that those things which are exciting there are going to happen with us too.
Yeah.
I want my own wallet. I want to have. I want to have the rights to basically to decide what happens with it, and not necessarily have a big third party deciding everything. Right. I want that with money. I want that with identity. I want that with the thing I eat. Lots of things I want to have autonomy on, and that's what we show, and that it's also not in contradiction with companies which can have a business.
Yeah. So that's the kind of technology for good. And one of the things that struck me talking to a lot of the speakers was how many of them are focusing on a business problem, but then realize that by looking at it from this new aspect, they can actually do more with less, so efficiency. Yeah. They get better at it, so it's much more effective. Yeah. So that's all very good. But then they realize they can go one step further and do something good with it as well.
Yeah. That's the whole. That's Silicon Valley too, right? You can be rich, you can be famous, you can do good, you can be much more efficient, you can do everything. We'll see about that. Okay.
Well, so that was what I was going to say. Is it too good to be true?
I'm extremely old. I've been going through waves and waves of new technology. I was very, very excited about the PC and about networking and about mobile and about internet and about
and it's all come true.
Cloud, and Well, but I mean, also it has got. The centralization is enormous. I mean, if you go now and you look at what we love, the internet, it's a couple of companies. 3 companies are the top. They do 50% of 80% of the e-commerce, and a couple of news sites, Facebook and etc. They're doing billions and billions of people. So I did not see that coming. That centralization of the network, because of the network effect, was so strong. So we'll see with blockchain. It has a promise, but I'm watching it. It doesn't happen by design.
No.
You can basically use blockchain to fuck up everything, and you can make it really much better. Same as with the internet. So I'm a little bit suspicious if somebody says, because we have the blockchain, we solve the trust issue. Now then I am extremely skeptical.
Right.
But show me how. And because of the blockchain, everything becomes efficient or becomes decentralized. Now, okay, I don't believe anything anymore. So. And this is what we're trying to do, to figure out, are these people for real? Are the promises for real? And I don't necessarily believe that everything, you can do it better, make more money, be more efficient, and that happens by design. That happens if people really pay attention to it. And if there's other people watching over your back, to design it that way. It doesn't happen automatically.
So here's a question for you. You just talked about essentially hype. Do you think we are in the hype, beyond the hype, or are we still under-hyped? So we have no idea of the potential.
Yeah, well, everybody always has that thing like, if you look in your mirror, objects look further away than they really are. Yeah. So on the short term, it always takes longer, and on the longer term, things change way more rapidly. But I mean, so we're this is 10 years ago. I met the guy who wrote the Satoshi, the Bitcoin paper. Satoshi Nakamoto, Greg Wright. I met him about 4 weeks ago. So it doesn't matter if he's real or not, but I met him. That's 10 years ago that paper was written. Yeah. It's really that short. It's no time. Normally it takes. I talked to Vince Cerf a couple of weeks ago about, and he wrote the TCP/IP. He wrote it in 1970.
Right.
Okay, and it was to connect 6 computers together.
And still took 25 years.
And at 1994, it started to come above the surface. Yep. Your first defense, then university. It takes easily 30 years before this technology gets mature. Electric cars, driving cars, etc. Artificial intelligence. Yep. It takes a while. But blockchain is going quite fast because we have a fast network. There's already everybody's digital. It's enormously international. And I am just every time amazed how fucked up the current system is. If we have a payment system, you think it's extremely in the blockchain world. We think it's incredibly normal to send a payment to the other side of the world and it arrives. The banks say they can do that too. If you see how the banking system does that with settlement systems, which take 7 days, which are incredibly complicated and don't work at all. Blockchain can really improve. If you see these examples, I got tears in my eyes that you have, within a month, you have a huge container with everything in there for $1,000 from China to here. But then the paperwork, takes at least 7 to 14 days and 240 documents and takes about the same amount of money.
I was going to say, it's also $1,000 on top.
Yeah, and things go wrong. Yeah. So it's really, we have old-fashioned systems created in 1950, 1960, the Cobalt period, and we need to replace them. And I think that it's really a good idea to have a database with a number of nodes and that everybody can add information and that you don't have 17 databases which need to be synchronized, but you have one database where it's built in. So it's a very good technology, but to change companies is one thing, but to change systems of companies takes forever. And then standards and governments and regulations, my God. It's amazing that so many things happen.
So I'm going with you find it's underhyped at the moment.
Well, I think the hype is now gone. Yep. Everybody's looking, what does it really do? How much does it cost and how does it work? And that is extremely healthy. That is really, really good. And we need a bunch of technology coming. So we need, for example, Lightning. The public networks need to become scalable and lots of transactions not using it. There needs to be a lot of improvement there. And then we need to basically change our companies and our institutions and our laws. That will take 20 years easily. easily, but we will see much more effect very quickly. So I think this year I'm really excited. We saw some really good practical cases in a lot of different industries, much more than the announcement of production system of last year, and lots more than the proof of concept we had the year before. So I'm really happy about the progress.
I mean, trading billions in barrels of oil a day.
Yeah. Well, billions of dollars,
Yeah, that's what I mean. Billions of dollars.
Not billions of barrels, but I mean, it was really serious. 500-600 billion is nothing.
That 2 years ago was not even barely on the radar.
Yeah, and I thought also the case I started with was from Ping An, who basically took 400 Chinese banks in 18 months, went from a paper system to real-time settlement, which basically does 2 trillion a month. So that is also real stuff happening, and I thought it was really. We had two fantastic presentations at the end. You know, we had Professor Oniek in the hospital bed in England, who basically told that China has 70% of the blockchain projects, and they're really reorganizing the country, and they don't have so much legacy, and they think blockchain is really important to avoid fraud and corruption, but they were very sincere that they want to basically get rid of poverty inside China, you know, in 2025, and they want to use blockchain for that. So that was really interesting. And then we had Dave Bird saying, that bullshit about the bullshit about it was the last speaker, and he said everything with blockchain is bullshit. It doesn't solve any real problem. We can do everything much better, and that was also a fresh air and a wonderful, skeptical, humorous ending.
Yeah. So I interviewed Dave Birch, so that video is also available for you to find.
Yeah.
Sticking with the Dave Birch perspective for a moment, what's an unpopular thing you've been hearing in the blockchain AI world where you think,
the blockchain AI.
Yeah, where you think that might actually be true, an unpopular thing.
An unpopular thing,
so
that it basically can have all kinds of disadvantages. That it can have disadvantages,
a perspective that the blockchain world is saying, no, don't be stupid. Of course, that's not going to happen, or that you think, well, maybe if we don't watch out, that is true.
Well, the only thing I always hear is that really show me the money, show me an example of what's really improving thanks to the blockchain, because you've been talking about it for 10 years, and that tends to, the appreciation of the blockchain tends to corresponds with how high the Bitcoin is. You know, if Bitcoin goes up, everybody's excited, and then blockchain is fantastic, and if Bitcoin goes down, then blockchain is certainly a piece of shit, and that has absolutely nothing to do with each other. Those are pretty much different trends, and I think that blockchain technology is not ready. I'm really appalled how long it takes for Ethereum to become a production place. You know, the transactions, the safety, the stupid way these contracts are written. You know, we need a lot of improvement there. And the same with Bitcoin. I really hate the governance of Bitcoin. How these people always fight with each other. For example, about the block size. That needs to be improving. But on the other hand, I still am happy every year that I go like, wow, progress is being made. This stuff will become part of our future society. And then if I then see the movie of the hackathon, you know, from Groningen, the biggest hackathon in the world, wow, that made me very excited. You know, just like it was wonderful.
So let's take another direction. Imagine I put a big pot of money, and I don't care whether you find big to be 5 million, 50 million, 500 million, right on the table now, and say, Vincent, you can spend it on whatever you like as long as it is tech focus or blockchain, AI, whatever you find relevant. How are you going to spend it?
Well, I think I will spend it on the things which irritate me the most. And I think, you know, healthcare, that is such a pain in the butt system. And I'm advisor of one company. It's called Solve.care, and that is basically they're trying with a blockchain and with wallets and with to make a scheme that it's much easier that doctors and professionals and caretakers basically find each other. I would definitely invest in them. I would give them another 50 million to work with that. Then. I would really spend money on education, because I think education is really important, and it needs to be, you know, the blockchain can be very useful to track the students and the teachers and that kind of stuff, and to also make tools so that it's really clear what people want to read, what they want to learn, that they also really learn that, and that they also are evaluated on, and that system is also put on a good solid technical foundation. I would love to give a bunch of money on there, and I think blockchain will have a course there.
So maybe that ties into my next question, which is, this is the 6th year of the Blockchain Innovation Conference.
Yeah.
How are you going to make it radically different next year?
Yeah, because I'm boring. I mean, I am extremely boring in the way I organize it. I have a bunch of speakers coming in. They are really great people. I think I have a nice audience who are really, they want to do things, and I let them mingle with each other. I put them on stage, but the stage is just a place I'm saying, this is an interesting guy, or woman, go talk to him. I didn't even talk about Marlene Everts, who basically had a fantastic exchange. And you can go public on the blockchain at a fraction of the cost. You can basically go public, raise 5 million euro, have 3% cost, and have everything on the blockchain certified.
Today.
And also today, that is also really exciting. So there's great speakers, there's great people talking to each other. I think for me the stage is more a place. Look at this person, go talk to him later in one pace. But I am extremely boring in the way the forum works. I mean, compared to the hackathon, for example, in Groningen. So yeah, I'm innovative. I'm a trend watcher, but I'm extraordinary. I mean, just like storytelling, I've been doing that for all my life, and I have a little bit more slides or I use a little bit more video, but really nothing has changed. So I think I am not so much an innovator in that respect. And because I did something, for example, I did something funny last year. I gave everybody could pick up a little earplug, and when Dave Birch was ready, you could walk outside, and then you could talk to him wherever he was, wherever you was, and then you could have 20 or 30 people could basically talk with him. They could either sit next to each other, or you could be in the toilet talking to him, asking questions. And that was a different forum, because I go like, hey, go with the speaker you like. You don't have to sit in the room. But everybody kept on sitting in the big room and wanted to see the next speaker and the next speaker and the next speaker. So that was not it. So I have to come up with something new, but I'm not a very creative person. I'm a trend watcher. I watch trends. I look at people. I get excited about them, but I don't do much new things.
So,
sorry.
You're a trend watcher. Every time somebody says you're a trend spotter, you're very clear. No, I watch trends. I don't spot them.
Yeah.
But you know the question that's coming next. What's the next big thing?
Yeah. Well, I must say I've been involved in. It's really weird. I mean, I've involved with a lot of payment seminars, and I've really took a good look into the settlement part of the financial system. It's really amazing that it works. It's really so complicated and so bad, and and it's wonderful that all kinds of companies solve all kinds of problems of the complexity of the current system. I think that the next thing is that the public blockchains will grow up, have transactions, have speed, have intelligence, have good contracts, and then we will solve a lot of these problems we were originally wanted to solve. Basically have a good payment system, because we need a good, solid international payment system without all that technology and complexity around it. So I'll call that the next big thing. The public blockchains are gonna grow up and be useful for business.
Fabulous. Last question.
Okay.
How do you want to be remembered by kids that would be the generation of your grandchildren?
Okay. Well, I don't care about them. I don't have a legacy. I'm now getting at an age, I'm burying people. I'm burying people who have done fantastic things. For example, I buried a guy, his name is Hans, and he basically started ING Direct, and he died at 72. And I interviewed him for 4 hours. And that was, he has such a great story, and how he built ING Direct and how he built a Postbank, and I loved taking those stories out. So if I would be remembered, it would be great, because I interviewed interesting people, and these videos are still online. And sometimes people look at these videos, have these fantastic people come to life, and that they go like, oh, this interviewer was a cool guy, And I want them, if I'm dead, that people say, wow, he really did a good job in making us enthusiastic about some new things. And then I'm totally happy. And my children of my children of my children. Yeah, good luck with your world. Make sure that you keep it alive and kicking.
5 words to finish this conversation.
Okay, I am so happy it's over. I'm so happy it's over. I think everybody is.
Nick Stevens and Vincent Everts from the Blockchain Innovation Conference 2019 in Amsterdam. I think, sir, we can call that a wrap.
We can call it a wrap. Thank you for 25 interviews. Great job.
No problem.